This happened to me a few months ago, but I still remember it like it was just yesterday. Be a few months ago. Be hiking in the forest. It's been about 8 days already since I started hiking. I have an M44 Nugget with me, which is a folding bayonet, and a .22 pistol. I was walking down some lightly walked trail. It still has leaves and grass on it. Only a few people must have used it in total, and sparingly at that. I have general hiking gear with me. Alice pack, canteen, KA bar knife, Est-wing hatchet, wool blanket, flint and steel, that kind of shit. I was just looking around and enjoying the general view of everything. I see a deer in the distance. I take out my M44 and just start watching it through the iron sights. It begins to move, and I decide to follow it. It eventually leads me to a small pond that it drinks out of. I wait for it to leave, and I decide to make my camp nearby. I start collecting some firewood. I see a tree with some old and very thin string attached to it. It had a single brownish red bead on it. I didn't really think much of it. I cut it off the tree and threw it into the fire. I then set up my camp, and I made a fire using a bow drill. I boiled some water and just sat there, admiring the wilderness, just passing the time until nightfall. It begins to get dark, so I put some more stones around the fire and toss a few logs in. I then crawl inside my tent, which was just some tarp and some bedding that I made out of leaves and grass. I fall asleep with the nugget in my arms. I wake up. I go outside and check on the fire. It's out except for a few small embers. I start up a new fire with flint because my hands have always been pretty stiff when I wake up. I cook some food that I have brought along and hum to myself while I do it. I finish my breakfast and put the fire out. I begin to load my gear back into my pack when I notice that in the distance, the tree that had the bead from yesterday now has another string, this time with 2 beads on it, one brownish red, the other is yellow. What the fuck? I go to it and look around for any tracks or signs of someone being around. I see some broken twigs behind some trees, but that's about it. I decide to scout out the area. I begin to walk around the area, hoping to find someone or something. Look around for a few hours, but I see nothing. Decide that they are most likely gone, so fuck it. I then see another deer in the distance, must be at least about 300 meters away. I begin to sneak up to it with my nugget in my hand. I get to about 100 meters away from it and decide I should not get any closer due to the fact that I might scare it. I kneel down on one knee and begin to aim at the deer. Boom. The deer drops like a sack of shit, and I go over to it to get my kill. I walk towards the deer and finally arrive at its body. I take out my fire bow and begin to make a fire. I grab some stones to act as a table and start to cut up my meat. I then hear some twigs breaking in the distance. I assume it's an animal that smelt the dead deer or something. I take the entrails and fur about 300 meters away from the cooking site. I begin to cook my deer and sit down on a few rocks next to a tree only a few feet away. I begin to feel the need to take a piss. I sling my nugget over my shoulder and go out a ways away to take my piss. Go to a tree and start to take my piss. I hear some banging and shit near my cook site. I don't want to startle a bear or some shit like that, so I slowly turn my head around. I see some woman and some old fuck dressed in raggedy clothes, almost like some type of robe, taking my bag and deer. I zip the fuck up and shoulder my nugget. Hey, what the fuck? Fuckers begin to run off with my shit. They begin to run past some large trees and bushes. I chase them, but I am losing ground. I realize that all of my shit is going to be gone if I don't do something. Stop, or I will fucking shoot you both. They don't stop. The old fuck turns and smiles back at me. I aim at the old fuck, carrying my bag and shoot. He falls to the ground, and the lady drops the deer to run back to her old fuck. I begin to run towards them, but I am still far away at this point. She leaves the bag and the deer, and grabs the old fuck, and then begins dragging him into some bushes. Hey, stop motherfucker, get back here, what the fuck are you doing? I rip off my medic pack that sits on the outside of my pack. Rush into bushes to figure out what the fuck they are doing. I follow the blood trail. I get to a clearing. The blood trail makes a dead stop, just in the middle of this clearing. There is no larger amount of blood, the trail just stops. They are both just fucking gone. I run my hands to my hair out of frustration and confusion as to just what the fuck happened. Oh shit, my pack. I run back to my pack and my food. The deer is gone, and some shitty knife is stuck in my pack, but nothing was taken from it. Oh fuck me, what the fuck, who the fuck, god damn it. I rip out my knife and throw it into the distance in anger. It is getting really dark now, so I rush like a bitch to get away from the site in the opposite direction that I came. It is finally dark, but I keep running for a few hours because I just want the fuck out of this place. I eventually get too tired to run, so I sit next to a tree and make a small fire, just enough to give me some kind of comfort. I grab a package of food from my back and begin to eat out of it, holding my fork with food on it over the fire to heat it up, since I just wanted a quick meal. I eventually finish my portion and stuff the package back into my pack. I am just sitting there, staring at the fire in front of me, clutching my nugget, and keeping the pack between my legs, with a spare clip in my right hand. I'm a lefty. I decide to scout the area out, since I was getting sleepy. I turn on my flashlight. It was literally just a dorky flashlight taped to my rifle, and look around. I don't see shit but trees and bushes. I guess I'm in the clear. I decide to just sleep sitting against a tree tonight, with my pack under my ass and my rifle in my hand. I wake up in the middle of the night after having a nightmare about what happened a few hours ago. The fire is out, my ass hurts, and it is darker than anything. I decide to make a new fire, get some food, and then maybe I would sleep easier. I look around for some kindling and some small twigs to burn. Just enough for a few minutes is all I need. I see some light in the distance. It appears to be a torch or something. I get down and behind a tree, staring at the new light in the distance. I hear a small roar, and some people talking in God knows what language. I am in DEFCON 2. I hear the roar again, and eventually I see some people. It's a decently sized group, some with red and black robes, some with vests and jackets. They are about 200 meters away from me, walking in perpendicular towards me, but still approaching. I can make out that one of them is holding onto a rope or some shit. They begin to get closer. I lean up against the tree and try to get a view of just how many people are there. Must be around fucking 15 people. I begin to panic internally and begin to aim my rifle at them, in case I slip against the bark of the tree and make a soft thud against the dirt. The leader, the guy who is holding the rope, turns his head towards me. He yells something in whatever language he is speaking. I see that the rope he is holding is attached to a motherfucking grizzly bear. I turn on my flashlight since I am fucked anyways and deploy my motherfucking bayonet. They all begin yelling at me and raising their arms and shit. I point my rifle into the air and fire a warning shot. Biggest fucking mistake of my life. I load the next round, but as soon as I fire, the fucker releases the bear. Oh fuck. I start running away faster than I physically know fucking how, but only get maybe 10 feet away before the bear has covered the distance. I turn and ram my bayonet into the bear's neck as it throws me to the ground. It lunges at me and sticks one of its claws into my arm. I am trying to stop this fucker from ripping my face off as I use the nugget as a barrier between me and the bear. I grab the rope that is attached to its neck and pull to the side. It moves its head almost gracefully, and I grab my nugget with my right hand and fire it into the bear's head. The bear drops on top of my left leg. I see the group walking toward me, maybe 75 meters away. I grab my KA bar and dig out the dirt around my leg, trying to free myself. I reload the next round into my nugget and take a pot shot at the crowd. I hit some random fucker in a winter jacket. The group charges at me now. Oh fuck. I claw at the dirt and rip at it. Eventually, my leg becomes just loose enough to get out. I begin running like crazy away from these guys. I only have my nugget with 2 clips left, with maybe like 3 to 5 rounds of ammo in random pockets. I keep running, but but fuck, they are catching up. I turn and shoot at them, hitting the main fucker in the shoulder. I keep running, occasionally turning to shoot at the group. They keep screaming and throwing rocks or sticks. A few rocks hit me in the back, but I did not give a shit at that point. I am running like a bitch and far past the point of being out of breath. I take another pot shot at them and keep running. I run past trees and bushes, slipping in mud, and I cut my foot against something. I don't stop fucking running. The instant I look back, I know I am dead. I can feel them just a few feet away from me. I run into a dirt road and book it down the road. I run for at least another hour, scared out of my mind. I eventually see a farm with a truck outside. I run into the back door, slamming into it, and turns the door handle, collapsing inside onto my knees with my rifle in hand. I begin yelling to her, but I am so tired and dehydrated that I am just speaking gibberish. Some dude in his 40s comes down with a shotgun and wants to know who the fuck I am. I look behind me and see the field behind me is empty, slouch against the wall and smile. The dude gets pissed and yells at me again. The old lady hands me some water and I down it. I begin telling them what the fuck happened. I eventually get to talk to some cops. Apparently, there has been some satanic cult activities in the past, but they could not locate them. They let me go. I eventually make it home through hitchhiking and a lot of walking. I will never go hiking alone again. Fuck Satanists. When I was a kid, all children believed in magic. At least, all the kids I knew did. I believed in magic and mysticism too, and even encountered it more than once. Though, I didn't really remember it clearly until recently. What made me remember and finally write it all down was an experience that plunged me into pure horror. As a child, I loved to wander around. Our little group knew the neighborhood like the back of our hands. Back then I knew every street and shortcut near home so well I could find my way back in the dead of the night. There were plenty of abandoned buildings around, but I want to talk about one in particular. What it was before it was abandoned, I still don't know. What I do know is that it had always been there. I don't remember a time when it wasn't. Until recently, I could not remember why I always avoided walking past it. I told myself it was because I didn't want to see abandoned buildings. Now, after what happened in the last few months, I finally remember why. All kids believe in magic, and there always comes a moment when they decide to summon something, to talk to spirits, feel the rush of adrenaline, and try to prove the supernatural is real. When our group decided to play with the otherworldly, the location was obvious, the abandoned house. Adults never went there, and no one would stop us from performing our rituals. And Vova, our leader, had prepared 3 at once. Vova, the unofficial leader, did his research. He asked all of us what we knew about rituals and who could summon whom. He even checked with school friends from his other part of the city. Maybe they knew something interesting too. After some thought, Vova decided that we would perform 3 rituals at once for maximum effect. Ritual 1, summoning a ghost. Simple logic. If there is an abandoned building, someone must have died there. And if someone died there, there must be a ghost. Nobody objected to this. Ritual 2, summoning the Queen of Spades, the classic children's horror story. She appears and tries to kill those who disturb her. Terrifying, but Vova believed that if she could be summoned, he knew how to handle her. Ritual 3, calling Bloody Mary. This legend came from overseas and was our backup. If our ghost did not show up, maybe these would. So, the place was chosen, the rituals were prepared. All that was left was to set the date and time. Everything was set. We would meet after school, wait until dark, and when the full moon was out, we would summon the spirits. On the appointed day, our group gathered, 7 of us in total. 1 was missing, and he was not at school that day either. No cell phones to call him. We made our way carefully to the abandoned house as dusk fell, trying not to attract the attention of any nosy old ladies. Vova played the part of a spy, scouting ahead and making sure that we were not even seen. Inside, the house was empty and almost clean. It had 2 rooms. One bigger one with a wooden floor that was rotten in parts, in a small nook fenced off by a wall. The big room could have fit twice as many kids as we were. Vova gave a satisfied nod. It's perfect. He told the girls to lay out the ritual items: 2 decks of cards, 2 mirrors, 2 candles, matches, and a glass. Vova placed a glass in the center of the room, lit 1 candle, and set it inside. We were ready for the first ritual. The house's entrance faced the park, and only the windows faced the street. Though abandoned for years, it looked intact, like someone had just packed up and left. Vova took the lead. "O spirits of the dead who once lived in this building, I call upon you, respond." Then, "O spirits of the dead who once lived here, respond, I want to talk to you." After a pause, he whispered, "Of course, maybe no one ever lived here. Maybe there are no spirits." He repeated the call a 3rd time, then said that we should wait a couple of minutes before moving on to the next ritual. The next one needed more preparation, summoning the Queen of Spades. Since she did not have to have lived here before, Vova was confident that it would work. After 2 minutes of silence, lit by candlelight and the faint glow from the windows, Vova declared it was time. He took the Queen of Spades and Queen of Hearts from one deck, and all 4 queens from the other. Holding 6 queen cards, Vova explained the rules. Whoever drew the Queen of Hearts would be protected for life. Diamonds and clubs could expect protection for this ritual, but those who drew the Queen of Spades were on their own. The twins drew first. They both got the Queen of Hearts. Nastya got the Queen of Clubs, so Vova smiled and said that she was safe. Igor drew the Queen of Spades. For a brief moment, I saw fear flash on Vova's face, but it passed immediately. He winked at Igor and turned to me. "Draw a card." A chill ran through me. I felt a cold breeze, even though the air was still. It's a 50-50 chance, I thought, and drew the Queen of Spades. Vova got the diamonds. He announced that those lucky with other queens were safe. Igor and I would have to summon the Queen of Spades and face her if necessary. He took the cards from us and said to summon her. We had to disturb her, like burning her cards over the candle. We held both queens over the flame inside the glass. When the flame touched the cards, that chill hit me again. I looked at Igor. His eyes were wide, like he was seeing something none of us could. Suddenly, the door, which I clearly remembered Vova closing, swung wide open. I jumped up to shut it, but then heard noises and turned back. Igor had picked up one mirror lying face down and was staring into it. The other mirror was shaking, almost jumping. Igor's lips moved, but I could not hear his words. Vova stood by his brother, trying to calm him down, saying it was all a joke and he was safe. The girls, scared by the open door, started screaming and running out. I kept watching Igor's lips. Though I couldn't usually read lips, I clearly saw him say, "You will be next. You were not afraid to bother me. You have a chance, but we will meet again, and I will take you with me, just like him." That is what he said to me. It lasted about 10 seconds. The girls ran out. I yelled for Vova to grab Igor and run, and I started running too. That night I could not sleep. Igor's words haunted me. I decided I would ask him at school what he meant. Or maybe I had imagined it all. Maybe none of that actually happened. But the next day, Igor was gone from school. No one knew why. No one seemed to care either. Nastya acted like nothing had happened. When I asked about Igor, she gave me a strange look, like she had no idea who I meant. That evening, only Kostek, who missed the ritual, showed up at our usual meeting place. He said he had been sick and was curious to hear what happened. I told him briefly, without details. After waiting for a while, no one else came. People miss sometimes, but never all of them. I told Kostek I had a headache and went home. For the next week, I waited to see Igor, but he never showed. When I asked about him, classmates acted like Igor was a ghost. It was like I was the only one who remembered him. Summoning my courage, I decided to visit him unannounced. Before, I only went when invited by his parents. When I rang the doorbell at his apartment, an old neighbor answered instead of the family. She asked who I was and why I wanted to see them. I said I was worried about Igor's health. The neighbor looked surprised. She said I must be mistaken. The Ivanovs had moved out months ago. No one had lived there for a long time. I was speechless. I returned home, confused and unsettled. I never found out what actually happened. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Be me. I am visiting my grandma's house in El Salvador. There is lots of nightlife out there. It's also pitch fucking black because no fucking streetlights. It is dark as fuck. I have to go and take a piss. I walk down towards the bathroom, which is in its own building for whatever reason. The floor is tile, and I don't know. I guess to comfort myself, I used to kind of skip, so my feet would always slap the tile. I get to the bathroom, and I open the door. I hear slapping. What? Someone else is skipping down the hall. I hear what kind of sounds like my little cousin's voice, asking me if I want water, or to go to the water or some shit. I can't really speak, or understand the language too well. What the fuck are you talking about, Gabriel? My face went. There is someone much too tall to be my cousin, standing in the grass. My face went. This guy repeats in near perfect mimicry of my cousin's voice. Do you want to come to the water? No. What the actual fuck? I scream for my dad. My dad freaks out. The guy is still telling me to go towards the water, or if I want water. My dad runs out and sees the guy, and starts screaming. Grandpa starts lecturing me, in fucking Yucatec, about how I need to let out blood to purify the evil that taints me. Grandpa starts telling me all sorts of shit about how it won't go away until I do the ritual. My face went. My dad tells my grandpa to fuck off and flies me back to the States. I have not been back since, but I could never forget that night. Be forced to clean temple, after once again being forced to follow morning rituals, and yet again having to dress traditionally. I go to clean the temple interior, dust the halls, and polish the idols. God fucking damn it, I hate this job. You have no idea how much fucking dust these fucking temples get. I head in and start dusting. I realize that someone in the day staff, or maybe some tourist, has moved one of the little clay doll idols. I remember all these stories about how it's a great disrespect to let them just fall face flat. Fuck it, the halls are bigger, I will save that for last. My face went. I start hearing goats bleating. What? I hear muffled Yucatec. It sounds kinda like Grandpa. I hear the sound of stone scraping. I recognize it as the front door. Nope. I fucking book it towards the door, because I am a panicky as fuck teenage boy. The door is open, but there is fucking overgrowth everywhere. What? The jungle is not this fucking dense. I am too scared to step outside. I hear more weird noises. Bleating, hooting, all kinds of weird noises and shit. I run back inside. The stone scraping sound is still there. I run faster, and I get lightheaded as fuck. I wake up in the main office. I have been gone for nearly 3 hours. Grandpa found me in one of the halls. The clay idol was chilling in the hallway entrance. Be college student me. I work in admissions office. It's boring and agonizing having to punch into the system those stupid college fair cards that high school kids always fill out. It's a small college, but has a rich history and tons of too spooky haunting stories. Trying to burn all of my work-study hours at the start of the semester, so I don't have to come in later in the year. Boss lets me run mail across campus, delivering packages and stuff to professors. One of them requires me going into the school's theater. I remember my drama major friend telling me the place is haunted. Normal delivery, nothing happens. I'm a curious fucker though, so I pop my head into the larger theater because the doors were unlocked. I scan the aisles and see that there is one chair stuck down, but nobody is in it. Just a weird chair. I notice lights flickering and start to hear applause. The chair swings right back up. I feel a cold breeze blow by me, and the door to the sound studio creaks open on its own. I back out of the theater slowly. I get back to work and get the fuck out to my dorm. I am telling my friends what happened. They share that it was Sister Anne, the nun who used to help with drama but died a few decades back. She does weird shit in the theater all the time. Nothing bad, not even scared. Sister Anne is a permanent fixture of the school's drama department. She goes to every play and is there even after hours. I saw or heard her at least 4 more times while I was there. Final story I have, more college than work, but it is a good story. Be in freshman year, living in a big dorm. I keep hearing stories that the dorm is haunted. I live on the top floor. Above us is only an attic that is rarely used. I see lights on up there from time to time and hear weird noises. I hear the legend of the Black Knights, a fraternity in the 60s who broke in up there and tried to summon demons, but were busted by security before they could close the portal. One night, we are sitting in a circle with friends, drinking and swapping our haunting stories. One friend swears his door opens and shuts on its own. Another says his GF keeps getting woken up and sleepwalking, referring to the men upstairs. One girl says she watched all the showers in the bathroom turn on at once on their own. My roommate says he keeps hearing chains rattling at night. Think it's just all too spooky for me fun stuff, but nothing serious. Same week or night, I forget, our light keeps flickering. Friend decides to shout at it and blames the ghosts. Light suddenly stops and stays turned on. I hear a thump upstairs and dragging, like somebody is moving furniture or a body. Light starts flickering all down the hallway, one room to next. We chase them, shouting and fixing them. Get to end of hallway, and the dragging and the light business stops, right where the ladder to the attic sits. Nope. Friend decides to climb the ladder and bang on the door. Nothing happens. We all go back to our rooms, no more spooky. That night I am trying to rest, and keep hearing my roommate talking in his sleep. I listen for fun. Talking about time travel. Hell, spooky stuff. I laugh. 4 a.m. I wake up and do not see my roommate. I get up to use the bathroom. The hallway is spooky. Somebody left the window open and lights are still flickering, so it's cold and dim. I hear a fuzzy static, like a rain stick. Feels like it's muting all the other sounds. I can't even hear myself walking or breathing. I go into the bathroom and hear the shower turn on. I check and nobody is there, so I turn it off. I take a piss. I hear the toilet next to me flush. There is nobody there. I go to wash my hands and see that the sinks are all on. I turn them off and leave the bathroom, and then I hustle back to my room. I slide back into the bed and notice that the time on the clock reads 3 a.m. Did I screw up the time earlier? I go to bed finally. I wake up extremely late, at around noonish. My roommate is pacing the rooms. What happened? Where the hell were you, man? I discover that he was also not able to sleep last night and got up to use the bathroom around 4 a.m. He realized the clock was 3 a.m. when he returned and could not explain it. Tried to wake me up, but could not find me. He waited for an hour to see if I would come back, but I never did. He woke up freaking out and wondering if I died. I realize we both had the exact same experience. Points out all the stuff on our walls and shelves that fell off last night too, and he's been cleaning it for the past hour. Fuck. I never bother with the attic again. About 2 months ago, I was staying at a really crappy hotel. I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and this tall, rough-looking man who seemed extremely drunk approached me, asked for a cigarette, and started talking to me about his landscaping business and handed me a card while slurring his words. He then started asking me if I believed in God, and he started praying for me, gradually getting louder and louder until he was screaming at the top of his lungs for the entire hotel to hear. I was scared, and he told me to sit down and give him another cigarette. He grabbed my head and started praising Jesus and placing blessings on me for about 4 or 5 minutes, holding my hand and shouting at the top of his fucking lungs into the darkness about how the devil has no power, about how only God has power, and I was a child of the Lord. I was too afraid to get away, or he might hurt me, so I just kept nodding and pretending to go along with it. Then he grabbed my shoulders and pulled us so our backs were on the sidewalk, and his hand on my head, his feet in the air, screeching like a banshee, and I was desperate to just get the fuck out of there, but there was no way I could outrun him or fight back. After about 6 minutes of this, a couple came walking by, and he stood up and approached them. I immediately got back in the building and never told anyone about what happened until just now. Fucking Austin, man.